So let's just get into these stories. This first story is coming out of San Diego. Marvel had a panel at this year's Comic-Con and they made some announcements. The way things are these days, the type of political and social climate that we live in, you can't really do much without it causing controversy on one end or the other. And of course, this Marvel announcement has stirred up a little bit of controversy, and it has the diaspora at odds yet again. It's just another thing that has the diaspora at odds. And I want to get into that controversy. I want to provide some nuance for it because I think people are missing the point. And it's important to have someone like me, not saying that I know it all, but I have been following the grassroots Black American movement since COVID. I was new to it. I stumbled on it actually by accident. And so I have a really good understanding and grasp on what this movement is about and why it's important. And I want to help some people kind of understand this controversy so that you can be on the right side of history. Big claim, I know, but just let me cook, okay? Let me cook. Before we get into the controversy, though, I do want to make sure that we start off on a baseline. And by the way, my Patreon community has access to the sources for free. So if you like to see all of the links that I'm using in this broadcast, they are available on Patreon. I do not believe in gatekeeping sources. That's part of the problem right now, that people are putting content out and sharing things and they're not showing where they got it from. So you can't go back and verify it on your own. So if you are into sources and you respect that, make sure you become a member of Patreon. It is free. I do have a paid tier at $3 a month, but it is free to sign up as a member and you get the full episode of Tell Me More. This is just a clip. You get the full episode as well as other exclusive content and different things that I'm working on. But enough about me. Let's get into this video from the panel so that we can all hear this announcement. And I also want to read an article that goes into Ryan Coogler's decision because I think that's something that people are missing. I've seen a lot of assumptions about this casting decision that are just wrong. Like we don't have any evidence to prove some of these things. So I want to make sure we get into that article and then we're going to talk about the controversy at the end. Let's watch this video. Shout out to Black Film and TV on YouTube for this. This is from the panel over the weekend where Ryan Coogler made the announcement. Let's get into it.
We introduced a character who was a son of the character that the great Chadwick Boseman played, our T'Challa in that film. And today, I want to tell you guys in this next film, he grows up, he comes of age, and we have to find an incredible actor. You guys in this hall, you guys might know some of his work. He was great in a movie called The Long Walk. Alien Romulus. I want you guys to give a warm welcome to our new Black Panther, Mr. David Johnson. Wow. This young man.
I want to say thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you to this amazing family that I have the honor and the privilege and the blessing to join. I actually don't want to say too much because I want to let this screen do the talking. But believe me, the honor is entirely mine. Thank you.
All right. So you see David Johnson come out and thank Ryan Coogler for the opportunity. He is the new Black Panther. And with that being said, let's go on over to this article from Variety. It was published on July 26th, which was 2 days ago. And it says Kevin Feige says Ryan Coogler met with David Johnson 6 months ago in a secret meeting to discuss Black Panther 3 role, quote unquote, I got chills. So that's important. That is an important part of this discussion, believe it or not. This whole entire article is. And that is why one of the things I preach about in my content is you have to go beyond the headlines and read the article, because there is almost always information that you did not hear in a video in that article. It reads, Marvel boss Kevin Feige recently told Empire how David Johnson was cast as the next Black Panther. He explained that the Long Walk star met with Black Panther director Ryan Coogler in a secret meeting, and that the Oscar winner quickly identified Johnson as his next leading man. We hadn't started a search yet, Feige explained. Ryan was working on Sinners, and when Ryan works on a project, he's all in. So the presumption very much was we would sit with him after Sinners came out, after the Academy campaign. We were waiting till after the Academy Awards to sit with Ryan and begin that process. You heard that. So they were actually waiting on Ryan to start the process of selecting someone to play this role, but Ryan already had his mind made up. He added, a month and a half or so before that process, he called me and said, I found him. I said, what do you mean? He goes, I found him. He's this guy, David Johnson. He mentioned his movies. I'd seen one of them. I watched more. He goes, I'm going to meet him. He had a secret meeting with him under a cloak of darkness in a hotel somewhere and called me afterwards and said, he's the guy. He's the guy. I felt it. I felt it in my soul. He's a good man and he is the next Black Panther. And I got chills and I got a little welled up and said, let's do it. So we've been sitting on this secret for a good 5 or 6 months. It goes on to say Johnson will play T'Challa's son in Black Panther 3, which hits theaters December 15th, 2028. The announcement was made during Marvel's Hall H panel on Saturday at San Diego Comic-Con. Original cast members Letitia Wright and Winston Duke are returning for the new chapter, which follows Prince T'Challa II as he comes of age and takes up the Black Panther mantle. So, some people are saying that David Johnson is an amazing actor. I am not familiar with his work. I couldn't tell you anything about A Long Walk or Alien Romulus. Actually, looking into this story was the first time I've ever heard of both of those movies. So I can't really speak on his acting abilities or anything. I am very much neutral when it comes to his acting abilities because I'm not familiar with him. But what I noticed in the announcement, because to be honest with y'all, I wasn't looking for the controversy. When I put together my stories for Tell Me More every week, I'm looking for what's trending. I'm looking for announcements. I'm looking for good news. I'm looking for celebrity news. I'm just looking to see what's out there and what I feel like my audience would be interested in. So I wasn't even aware who David Johnson was, that he was British, that people were upset about him being cast. I knew nothing about that. So it was really kind of like, what do you expect? I kind of saw this coming before I even realized that there was controversy. So here's the controversy. There's two parts to this. You have the diehard Marvel fans who are saying that he's just not the right person for this movie. It has nothing to do with him being British. It's just the fact that he's not right for it. He doesn't have the physicality. I would rather see XYZ. But then the other side of that, and also those people who are like the Marvel super fans and really into the Black Panther franchise, they were expecting Damson Idris. That's who they wanted to play this character, the guy from Snowfall that dated Lori Harvey. That's who they wanted to be in that role. Now, on the other hand, there's a controversy being stirred around because of the fact that David Johnson is British, that he is a Black Brit. Some people feel like Ryan Coogler is a Black American movie director who holds this power and can make these decisions, should have casted a Black American man to play in this role. So that's where the controversy is. And I'm so glad that I've seen some of the takes and I had to refilm this because a lot of people are saying that, oh, the role goes to the best actor who auditioned. And it's clear from this article that David Johnson did not audition, that Ryan Coogler already had his eye on him and he actually chose him before the official process for the movie casting had even begun. The Marvel boss just told us that through this article. So I want to put that narrative to bed because people are using that as a way to kind of make Black Americans feel stupid for feeling a way about him being cast. You know, not that it says anything about what Black Americans are saying, because at the end of the day, you can feel how you want to feel. The point is that people are saying he auditioned and he didn't, not from what we just read. So I want to quickly go over to one more video. The reason why I'm pulling up this video is because it contains a TikTok video. Shout out to Water God TV on YouTube for this video. I cannot tell who the TikToker is. Again, I hate when people use videos and don't put their sources because otherwise I would have went straight to his video. But I have to use this one because that's the only place that I've seen it. But this guy kind of laid out his issue with it and why people feel a way about Ryan Coogler making this decision. So before I give you my hot take and my perspective on this, I want you to see his video as well. And by the way, I slowed this video down because it was sped up really, really fast. So if it sounds a little bit distorted or if it's weird, it's because I slowed the video down.
The Black Panther and Black Panther 3. Yep. Am I surprised? Absolutely not. Ryan Coogler is a sellout. Ryan Coogler been sold out. I knew he was a sellout after the second Black Panther. When I went to the movies to go see Sinners, I definitely knew he was a sellout. That scene where they're all dancing in the barnyard, and then they started showing like Africans dancing. That's when I knew that this man right down here was a sellout. He been a sellout, y'all. He does not care anymore. He referred to himself as FBA in the interview.
Me being a foundational Black American, you know, my family has been here, you know, for over 400 years, essentially.
And yet, he casted a British African actor, guys. Ryan Coogler refers to himself as FBA, Foundational Black American. That means he pays attention to what Black Americans are saying on these internets. He pays attention to the grassroots movement. He pays attention to us not wanting Africans and Caribbeans casted in our roles for our movies. Ryan Coogler knows that. Ryan Coogler does not care. Ryan Coogler is a sellout. He only cares about profit. He casted a Nigerian woman in Sinners and had her speaking in African Yoruba language, pretending as if she was speaking in Galagichi or Hoodoo culture. He had her doing Hoodoo practices. That is a closed practice to Black Americans. That is a Black American practice that is closed. That's not for anybody outside of Black American culture to just be doing. So he casted her in a role of a Black American Galagichi woman who practices and does Hoodoo. An African woman. That's who he put in a position to play a Black American.
Okay, so I think that's enough of that. As far as what he's saying, I'm not gonna go so far as to say Ryan Coogler is a sellout. I don't think that's a fair thing to say, because let's be real, he has power, but he doesn't hold all the power. So I don't think that he's a sellout, but I do feel like, how can I say this? I do feel like he misses the mark sometimes. And it's okay for us to think that. What I'm seeing in this climate that we're in right now is some Black people have become untouchable. And what I mean by that is people act like certain folks are above criticism and they are not. We all can be critiqued if it's constructive criticism. And I feel like this is one of those situations where the criticism that Ryan Coogler is receiving is more constructive criticism about what he can do moving forward as a director. So let's kind of unpack everything. Now, I only watched the first Black Panther movie. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I did feel like there were some similarities between Michael B. Jordan's character and Black Americans versus African immigrants. I do feel like there were some things, some symbolism there, but I didn't watch the second one. And I saw a lot of people weren't happy with it. So this kind of is like, definitely not going to go over well because of everything that's going on. So getting to the controversy, we know that Black American actors have been speaking out increasingly about British Black people, Black Brits in particular, Black Brits, Black African Brits coming over and being cast in roles that should go to Black American actors, such as Selma, such as the Aretha Franklin movie, and there are some other ones. But there's a thing going on in the Black acting space, the Black Hollywood space, where people are talking about how these actors come over and they take these roles, they take it for less money. They don't fight back in the same way that Black American actors fight back because their relationship with America is not the same. They don't have the same roots that we have and don't have the same approach to the oppression and the inequality that we have. So in many ways, they are undercutting the movement by coming in and taking these roles, but you also don't see it happening the other way. Like people are putting up examples of the very few times that Black Americans have, portrayed characters who were not Black American, but it's not even close to being the same. Most of the Black actors, Black presenting actors that we see on the big screen are not Black American, especially not your breakout stars. Even with Black Panther, the three that are there now, Letitia Wright, Winston Duke, neither one of them are Black Americans. So that has been an issue. And the reason why people are calling Ryan Coogler a sellout is because they feel like, look, you said that you were a foundational Black American. So that means you are tapped into this movement in some form or fashion. You are following it on the internet because that's mainly where it is, on social media, on YouTube. You are familiar with it. You made sure to distinguish yourself as that and also say that your family is from America. You have American roots. So you understand the gripe of Black Americans. You understand it. So you also know that this is a thing in Hollywood with these roles and them going to foreign Black people. So they're like, why wouldn't you be on code? And if you have this power, you can cast one of us in this role. So I'm also seeing how people are saying, oh, well, Black Panther is fictional. It's not real. So anybody can play it. And to that, I would just say people are playing both sides. And we know, because Dr. Neely Fuller taught us, that white supremacists take both sides of the argument. So you're telling us that this is a fictional character, so it shouldn't matter that an African is playing it. And furthermore, Wakanda is in Africa, but Wakanda is a fictional place. And if it's fictional, that means anyone could have played it. You mean to tell me a Black American couldn't play it? Chadwick Boseman was Black American. So why is it far-fetched that Black folks would want to see another Black American actor in this role that's coming up as his son? It's not far-fetched. And furthermore, Black Brits play historical roles of Black Americans, things that they really can't relate to just from an experience of being profiled for your skin color, but they haven't lived Jim Crow. Their family members haven't lived Jim Crow in America, in the South. Like my grandmama and my mama and my grandmother-in-law and those people have lived. They don't have that experience, yet they're playing those roles. So why can't a Black American play a fictional role? So that's kind of the argument that's going on here. And people are saying, oh, well, there are bigger things to worry about and y'all are divisive and this, and that. And this is what I have to say about that. Because I hear you. I know it sounds divisive, but it really should not be. Because as someone who has followed this movement and watched it grow, because let's be clear, this has grown. I have watched it with my own eyes go from internet talk to being mainstream talking points to even being once something that people made fun of. And now those same talking heads are now using their talking points. So this is a movement that is growing. Black Americans are increasingly frustrated with the things that we are seeing in the political space and also in the social justice, not even really social justice, but the socio-political space when it comes to our history, when it comes to our culture. And what I want people to understand is this. Black Americans are being villainized at this point for saying we are different. That is really the core of the whole thing, is that we are different. Yes, we present as Black, but our experiences are completely different. Our people built this country and they are from this soil. So when you say that we're divisive for saying that, how is it that no other groups are divisive for saying the same thing? It only became divisive when Black Americans started to say it. And that's telling. Like, we got to be honest here. We have to be honest. The reason why this became a talking point in the first place is because of reparations, the fight for reparations, the campaign and advocacy for reparations. In order to properly advocate for reparations, you have to establish who would actually receive them. So that's how this started. They're saying, okay, well, if we're looking for reparative justice from America, we have to establish ourselves as a specific lineage of the descendants of American slavery. So that's how this all started. It's not about saying, oh, we're better than y'all or we want to be above y'all. Some of the things that I'm seeing in the comment section, like Black people want to be superior, it's none of that. And it's just interesting to hear or to read people saying that, because historically, if we want to keep it a buck, Africans have consistently said that they are not Black American. They are proud about their flags and about their culture and their language and their food. So why is it that we say, yeah, you're right, we're not like y'all? This is our home. That's a problem. I don't see why it's a problem and why people are calling it divisive. Folks have this dream of Pan-Africanism, and I get it. I get it. However, the issue is that Black Americans have a specific justice claim, and in order to fight for their justice, we have to distinguish ourselves. It is not about excluding a group, but I think that it's telling that when we do that, we get villainized for it. And people are forgetting that our culture is being erased. Our culture, our history, our struggle is being erased. When you don't get to tell somebody who they are. It's like Jamaicans get to be Jamaican. Nigerians get to be Nigerian. People have a problem with us just being American. They want us to be African so bad. And for you to say y'all are African, tell me what tribe that my family's from, because I don't know. None of us know, actually, because as far as we can trace back, we're American. We don't speak any other languages. I don't know any African food other than jollof, just because I've seen it online. Like, we are not the same. And I just don't understand the problem with it. Now, do we have big things to worry about? Yes. In the grand scheme of things, a movie and somebody being cast for a movie is not that big of a deal. However, it is a symptom of a larger illness that's going on in America as it relates to Black Americans. And that is the problem. That is why people are mad. If y'all think that it's just about David Johnson, you are sadly mistaken. It is so much bigger than that. It's so much deeper than that. And people know. People know, because these same talking points that Black folks have been saying for the last 6 years, for sure, that I've seen it with my own eyes, have just solely been about what we need as a community: repairing the damage of slavery, repairing the damage of Jim Crow, repairing the damage now that we see with redlining, all of that kind of stuff. It's like people want to romanticize our history and use it for their gain. But when we stand on business and say, okay, this is our land, this is what we endured, and we need to be recognized so that we can get what is owed to us, I just don't see why that's a problem. And it's really frustrating, because if our history is being erased in the schools, politically, the gains that we're making are being reversed because everybody's being grandfathered in, what happens to the Black American who still has a justice claim? What happens? Because if you want to say that we're African, that makes everybody African. Like, I literally cannot trace my lineage back to African. If you want to talk about DNA markers, Black Americans do have different haplogroups, but also everybody got a little African in them. So it's just the fact that people are consistently trying to tell Black folks who they are, And when we say who we are, it's a problem. That is what this is about. Now, me personally, I don't plan to go see this movie just because I'm not into it. I'm not boycotting it or anything, but I just don't like to see folks be dumb. Like, you're being dumb on purpose. You're missing the point on purpose. This is not about David Johnson. This really ain't even about Ryan Coogler. It's the symptom of a bigger problem. And we just had this skit that Drewski did kind of highlighting this as well that caused a stir. And then the African actor that was on Godfrey's podcast, and he made those very disrespectful remarks about Black American accents. So why, when we say we aren't like y'all, that it's a problem? Why is it wrong for us to want to see a Black American being cast in a movie that's directed by a Black American who acknowledges the foundational Black American movement? So, people are wanting to have it all of the ways that you can have it, and that's white supremacist work. We're not the ones. And then that's another thing. Black Americans are being accused of being white supremacists for saying that they are different. That is wild. And it's really dangerous. And I hope that more people wake up and understand just how significant this is, because what I think is happening, just my personal opinion, is that when you have blanket blackness and anyone who looks black can be black, then you erase slavery. Then you erase Jim Crow. It doesn't matter anymore because everybody's black. Everybody's black. Everybody has a grievance that's black. Police profile everybody that's black. When you drill it down to just what someone looks like, that's when we have the problems. So I hope I'm articulating it right. That's why I hate having to re-record, because I was cooking in the first version of this video. I filmed this whole thing and I made my points, and I don't know if I touched on all of those things. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling. I hope that kind of clears up what the controversy is, because it is gaslighting. Like, don't tell me there's nothing wrong with this when we have continuously talked about how we want to see Black American representation. If these actors are coming over here, and it's really a Hollywood thing. And that's something that I think people need to remember as well. Like, the government works for us. We are citizens of America. We are not immigrants. We are from this soil. And that is different from someone who is not, like, who doesn't have any ancestral ties to this place. It is different. And when that becomes a problem, we got way bigger problems. So yeah, for everybody saying, oh, it's bigger problems to worry about. Yeah, but this is that problem. You may want to categorize it as an entertainment movie thing, but it's deeper than that. It's erasure. And Black Americans are seeing it, not just in film. We're seeing it politically. We're seeing it in our neighborhoods. And it has a lot to do with immigration, but also the lack of education around the history, not even being able to see the benign neglect of our community. It's deep, y'all. It's bigger than a movie. So I hope that I articulated that well. I would love to hear what you have to say about it, respectfully though. Like, don't come in my comments disrespectful, because I will delete it. This is my shit, okay? So I will delete it if you come incorrect, and I'm not gonna argue with you, but I do want to know what y'all think about this. Let me know in the comment section. We're gonna go on to the next story.